The most popular 10 Git commands that you will use on a daily basis as a professional developer. Learn these 20% to make 80% of work with Git. All commands are executed from the terminal and you can use any terminal you like. Fun fact: Git and GitHub are different things. Simply put, Git is a version control system that lets you manage and keep track of your source code history. GitHub is a cloud-based hosting service that lets you manage Git repositories. If you have open source projects that use Git, then GitHub is designed to help you better manage them. The git init command creates a new Git repository in specified directory. Run with no arguments to initialize the current directory as a Git repository. It can be used to convert an existing unversioned project to a Git repository or initialize a new, empty repo. Most other Git commands are not available outside of an initialized repository, so this is usually the first command you'll run in a new project. Executing git init creates a .git subdirectory in the current working directory, which contains all of the necessary Git metadata for the new repository. Git status. This command displays the state of the working directory and the staging area. It lets you see which changes have been staged, which haven't, and which files aren't being tracked by Git. Status output doesn't show you any information regarding the committed project history. For this, you need to use another command called git log. The git add command adds a change in the working directory to the staging area. It tells Git that you want to include updates to a particular file in the next commit. However, git add doesn't really affect the repository in any significant way. Changes are not actually recorded until you run git commit. To create an initial commit of the current directory, use git add .command, which means that you want to add all changed files to the staging area. The git commit command is used to save your changes to the local repository. Note that you have to explicitly tell Git which changes you want to include in a commit before running the git commit command. This means that a file won't be automatically included in the next commit just because it was changed. Instead, you need to use the git add command to mark the desired changes for inclusion. The -m flag sets the commit's message. You can provide an informative description that helps your teammates and yourself better understand what happened. The git push command is used to upload local repository content to a remote repository. Pushing is how you transfer commits from your local repo to a remote repo. So this command is used to transfer or push the commit, which is made on a local branch in your computer, to a remote repository like GitHub. The git push command takes two arguments: a remote name, for example origin, a branch name, for example main. Git branch. This command lists all of the branches in your repository. The git branch command lets you create, list, rename, and delete branches. It doesn't let you switch between branches or put a forked history back together again. For this reason, git branch is often used together with the git checkout and git merge commands. Add a branch name after git branch and it will create a new branch with any name you specify. The git checkout command is used to switch between branches in a repository. Checking out a branch updates the files in the working directory to match the version stored in that branch, and it tells Git to record all new commits on that branch. Use the git checkout -b command to create and check out a new branch named new branch. This command simultaneously creates a new branch and checks it out. The -b option is a convenience flag that tells Git to run git branch before running git checkout. Git pull command is used to download and integrate remote changes. The target, which means the branch into which the data should be integrated, is always the currently checked out head branch. So it is used to fetch and download content from a remote repository and immediately update the local repository to match that content. Git merge command merges the featured branch into the current branch called main branch. Merging is Git's way of putting a forked history back together again. The git merge command lets you take the independent lines of development created by git branch and integrate them into a single branch. If you encounter some conflicts during the merge, which happens quite often, you will need to update the file manually. Git clone repo. The clone command downloads an existing Git repository to your local computer. You will then have a full local version of that Git repo and can start working on the project. Typically, the original repository is located on a remote server, usually from GitHub. That remote repository's URL is then later referred to as the origin. The following command allows you to clone the repository located at repo into the folder called directory on the local machine. If something in this video sounds really confusing to you, don't worry. Git is a rather complicated topic, so it might take you a couple of weeks to understand the core concepts. Don't worry and keep learning, and you will eventually become a Git pro. Alright my friends, it was Dimitri again, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.